Well, welcome. My name is Jeff Harrison. Welcome to Sunrise Business Mastermind. It is sponsored by SCORE. Everyone familiar with SCORE? Who's not familiar with SCORE? She shoots, she scores. You're going to get my little speech then. First of all, I want to welcome all of you to here today, as well as those people watching. We do stream this live for those people that are interested in seeing Andrew. Andrew is a very well-known individual in the world for what he does, and we'll turn that over to him in just a minute. But what SCORE does, it's a group of retired individuals that give back to the community. And it's a funded project by SBA, the Small Business Administration. And the whole thing is, these are retired individuals who've been out of the marketplace for probably 3 to 5 years, maybe 5 to 7 years. And their whole goal is giving back. So when you come in for counseling or for guidance, first of all, there's no charge, but there's also no ultimatum for them working with you. Like, okay, if I help you with this, there's something I'm going to get out of it. It's just because they want to give back. And they have talent from all kinds of fields, whether it's patent, how to get a loan, how to write a business plan, you name it. Now, the other thing that happens is, let's say Linda comes in and she needs some guidance. They'll work with her for as long as it takes till you say, okay, I think I can fly on my own. They're not going to kick you out of the nest and say, it's time for you to fly. It's whatever you need. And the cool part about that is, let's say, for instance, you just started. What's your name, ma'am?
Susie.
Susie, let's say you were just starting the process. You said, well, I need to figure out how to write a business plan. Great, now I need to figure out how to get a loan, and they'll help you write that, and they'll guide you through each step. So it's not just one thing. Where we come in is we're still heavily involved in business, and our business is technology. So because if you think back 3 to 7 years ago, the people that retired, how much has technology changed since then? Just a little or a lot? Probably a lot. So they bring in people like Andrew, who specializes in what he does, and we specialize in video and video marketing for small and local businesses. So we keep abreast of that, and we're into the market all the time. That's why we're streaming videos and doing what we do. And we just want to welcome you. If you have questions, you can just set an appointment up. The gentleman that poked his head in that probably Gret you. He's that one right out on the internet. The people that, come on in. He'll be out there to help you, and you can set up appointments with them. They take walk-in. It's basically almost every day with the exception of Saturday. I think they do some Saturday appointments from 9 to noon, and that's usually their schedule. All right, so any questions about that? Just want to make sure to get that plug in there for SCORE. I want to introduce Andrew McCauley. I hope I didn't oversell him. No, I didn't. Andrew, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Thanks, Jeff. Hey, everybody. My name's Andrew McCauley. Autopilot Your Business is my business. If you've got a website and that's your only presence online, then you may want to start thinking about how else can you get found online. We do a lot of work with people to bring them as the authority in their industry. So we create a lot of podcasts, magazines, TV shows for people. So if you're one of those people that want to get out and get found and be the expert in your industry, that's us. We do all that for you. So that's autopilotyourbusiness.com.
Great. This morning we have a special guest, but before we get into that, I just want to share with you a little bit. It's a little bit of self-promotion about our business. And so many people maybe don't understand what we do or the value of that. And I just want to show you something. Has anybody heard of, oh, we're already losing somebody. What's she need?
Oh, no.
Coffee, donuts?
Coffee.
There you go.
So I can take this all in.
Is what we do is we help businesses get found on the internet, because so many people now are searching with their mobile devices or with their, I guess, a mobile device or a laptop or whatever before they go out. As an example, before you go out shopping, what do? You search and find out information, or you just start driving around town?
And I look on Google for
Absolutely. About 90% of us do that before we get out in the marketplace. If you're able to be found, then you're able to be visited by these people. But if you can't be found, no matter how cool your business is, the chances are, if I'm looking for you and you're not there on that first page, I'm probably not even going to know you exist. Because if you're not on the first page, only 8% of us will go past page 1, so it's very, very important. Our business focuses on doing that with video and getting you on the first page. I just want to show you a real quick example of what we did over the weekend for a client. Anybody heard of Rocky's Pawn Shop?
Yeah.
Pocket to Rock, yeah, home of the 1% loan. We just want to show you a real quick video of what we did, and then I want to show you how quickly we got to the first page. Now, before you show that, Andrew, how many of you have ever heard pay per click? Like you pay to get on the first page? Yeah. How many of you have actually paid for that or you've used that? Yeah? Is it pretty expensive?
I
Can
didn't
be?
find it expensive at all. But it is a question of budget versus
Okay.
what you get, return on investment.
Yeah. It depends on who you're competing with. Like if you're a real estate agent, that's probably a pretty expensive venture because that's a very competitive marketplace. Or if you're a dog trainer or you're a music instructor, you know, that may be a very competitive marketplace. So the more people that are in that environment, the more expensive it is. So some of our customers like this, before we started, it was running him about $2,500 a month. And he still wasn't showing up on the first page as quickly as he'd like to. Okay, so let's just show this as an example of his video.
Most short-term payday loans come with high interest rates. Pay the loan and also pay your other important expenses. Rocky's Pawn Shop is a viable alternative for families under economic stress. They will buy gold, silver, and jewelry at current market value of precious metals. Rocky's will loan money up to $100,000 for 30 days at just 1% per month. Based on the value of the merchandise the customer brings in to secure the short-term loan. Rocky's Pawn Shop has locations throughout the desert community, including
It's only 10 minutes, so
in the valley. And the money you need today.
So this is the video we made for them. And then we do what we call stacking. We load it onto to YouTube for them. And then when it finishes, it goes right to their website. So it's not just this one thing where it says, hey, you had a nice video, and then it just ends. It actually directs that traffic, because if you're watching, we want to keep you involved. So now it goes to their website where maybe they can take some additional action. So I just want to show you, when something like this happens, how quickly they're found on the first page. If you just show them a couple of those. This is the first page. They were first and second spot in Google in only 3 minutes. And here's the most exciting part about this, is these little things right here. They're little snippets or they're thumbnails. Google says that when we see those, we'll be twice as likely to click those than these down here. Now, how many of you heard of Yellow Pages? Right? Okay. If you notice, Yellow Pages, and I guarantee it's not inexpensive, they're below us. Below us. They've been there for a while. These are ads, so we're first and second place on there, and it happened in 3 minutes. It didn't take weeks or months or months. Next. And so this is for Banning. This is for Beaumont. Same thing. It took a little longer just because it took me a little while to get it up there. Okay. Here's 4 minutes. This is for Cathedral City. So if somebody's looking to borrow money and they're in Cathedral City, because our phones and our devices are geolocation, so they'll know you're in Cathedral City. I have to put that in there. Hey, where can I get money fast? Boom, there you go. And here's a cool thing. All those words up there, best place to borrow money fast in Cathedral City, all those are search terms. So if you're asking for, borrow money fast, it'll still show up. Okay? Or fast, well, maybe not fast money, but money fast, okay? And then here's another one, Desert Hot Springs, #1, 4 minutes. So the idea of this is you don't have to wait forever to get to the first page, and we're a fraction of the cost. Now, again, that's not my point of this. I just want you to realize how powerful Google is and video when you combine that. It's like, yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what the 4 minutes is.
From the time that we created the video, and it was done, and then we placed it on the internet, it only took 4 minutes for it to arrive on the first page of Google. This is what we tend to hear from clients. I've been using pay-per-click for a while, and it's taken me 30 to 60 days, and I'm still not showing up on the first page. And I'm like, wow, we can get there in 4 minutes. It used to be we got excited when we first started doing this. It was like 27 minutes. We're like, wow, that's cool. Now I get depressed if it's like 7 minutes. I'm like, man, what's wrong with this? So we do have one of these that took only a minute. I don't know if Andrew brought that up. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. There it is, only a minute. So that's in La Quinta. I went there first because that's where I live, in La Quinta. In case I need to borrow money, I know where to go. So this is an example of that. So if you're looking to get on the first page, this may be a way to do that, is using video. Yes,
My
sir.
question is, how long can you stay on the first page?
You might stay there forever. How cool is that?
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, if you're making fresh or relevant content and you properly label it and you do what you do there, Google owns YouTube, right? So I'm thinking they're going to show YouTube before MeToo. So the chances are they're going to continue to promote that. Plus it's video, they like video, so they're going to use that. And we are consuming video like there's no tomorrow. Okay? Now I do have an SEO expert in the room, and I think he has a comment. Please don't bury me.
No,
Because
sir,
we're really on a roll here.
No, what I was saying is you talked earlier about competition for placement. So maybe fewer people need to borrow money in La Quinta than Golden. So it took a little longer to get to where the demand is higher because there'd be more competition for those places.
It could be. It literally though. It was probably one of those things.
Around more
Yeah,
than anything.
it could
A few
be.
minutes difference isn't that big.
Yeah.
And do you use incognito when you search?
I don't. I use Google.
The incognito Google search?
I just-
He logged into Google.
No. This was when we put this on here. This was on his site. Okay, his, and then I came off of it and I relogged in as me. So there's
Oh, I
no
see.
association. Yeah. Thank you. So anyway, that's just a little bit about that. Now we have a great guest this morning. She has come from way over on the other side of the valley, East Valley. That's why she was. I don't know if you heard the plane, or no, it was a helicopter landed in the parking lot. It's something that as online marketers we forget how valuable it is. And she is from the Desert Sun. Her name is Dominique Fong, and she is sweet enough to be here this morning. We're going to do a little interview this morning. So as we're talking, yeah, we'll take questions because there's going to be things that come up. But we're going to kind of dig in and say, hey, how can we as business owners leverage the power of the newspaper without spending money or with spending less dollars and get seen? Because I'm going to ask her a question like, hey, if you're on the front page of the newspaper, how powerful would that be? Really? And you can do the same thing on the internet, right? So anyway, without further ado, let's welcome Dominique Fong. I thought I'd go through a couple things that I found out about Dominique on Facebook. I found out her favorite color is purple. Her favorite activity is, this one kind of surprised me, paintballing.
Is there really on there?
Yeah. And her favorite team is Oakland Raiders because she likes to face paint. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. All this is okay. So, Dominique, do us a favor. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Dominique again, and I'm a business and real estate reporter for the Desert Sun. So that means I cover the real estate market and also general business news. That could mean anything from small business to commercial real estate. It kind of covers the gamut. Like I was covering the economic blueprint recently, and I'll continue to follow that because I do a lot of work with CPEP. But yeah, I had actually spoken at the Small Business Development Center fireside chat, so some of you might have gone to that. And so I'm really here to really bridge the gap between being a small business owner or business owner and connecting with the media. I'm here to really answer any questions you have about how to craft a message that is appealing, story-wise to a newspaper or media outlet and, vis-a-vis the general public. So less about advertising, more about sharing your personal story and kind of how to shape that, in a way that could really get your message out there. And that could mean anything from like a full feature in a paper, say you're opening a new store and you have an interesting family story, something like that. That might garner an actual feature, or that could also be small news briefs in the paper. And I can talk about ways to do that as well because that takes much less effort, but can also get in the paper. Yeah.
So Dominique, let's just kind of dive into that. So when you talk about, let's say for instance, Holly is just starting in a particular industry, and you don't really want to know what she does. You kind of want to know her why story. Why does she do that?
Yeah.
Because that's really what we really want to know about, right? Mm-hmm. And it's almost like back to that thing that Andrew and I talk, and Amy in the back room talk a lot about, and that's content.
Yeah.
We're more interested in the content, right?
We are, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are much more moved by, of course, knowing who a person is and what their business is about. less so than about a product that I'm just talking about from a news point of view. And so, if you do, so I personally, I write a Sunday innovation piece, and I do that every other week. And I'm always looking for story ideas, and that can mean anything from green technology to a different method of doing business. It could even be, what was I saying? It could even be like a new distribution channel for something in your industry that no one's ever done before. Just sort of something different and local. There's that, and I also write about, or I also have, we have a business briefs section, and so that's a good place to kind of put your announcements and stuff. But yeah, mostly I'm welcome to ideas from all of you about, yourself. You can introduce yourself to me, email. I would encourage you to reach out to local media to introduce yourself, and not necessarily to sell, but really just to say, who you are, and you could even bring up things that are going on in your industry that you think would impact the greater public, and then honestly, that probably would catch a news person's eye a lot more quickly. Yeah.
So when you're getting this information from somebody, Dominique, what kind of things do you want to see from them that catch your eye and say, hey, this is what I want to see, and not specifically on industry, but more like, hey, what does the story look like, length and information, that type of stuff?
Yeah, just very concise. Your name, who you are, what your business is, and what would really be interesting is how your business is adapting to something in the industry, or if you, for example, actually Lynn from the Cathedral City Chamber of Commerce emailed me after the economic blueprint meeting, and she said, hey, here's a business, I think it's Cello's Pantry. She wants to, they have like a bistro, I think, and they want to open a pantry, they want to open up a store, but they're using a Kickstarter campaign to raise money. And so that is actually really appealing to me because, well, one, I've never written about them before, and I don't think our paper has either, so that's always a good thing if we haven't written about you yet. And there's so many small businesses that we're really excited to actually be able to reach more of you. So we are actually really wanting to reach small businesses, and I know we haven't really done a good job of maybe covering small business in the past, so that's why I'm here. But anyway, that's appealing, one, because we haven't written about them, and two, because, well, it talks about a new way of raising money, and three, it's a local business that has some good photo opportunities. So
you're really, so when you write, it's not, unfortunately we look at the news and we think it's negative, but you're really looking at the positive aspects of things.
Yeah.
So it's more than just me sending you a news or a press release, yes?
Yeah, it's really about connecting your business to something going on in the greater community. It could be a really compelling personal story. People love reading about those. And like I mentioned, it could be talking about a new way of raising money. I think that's fascinating. Not every business turns to Kickstarter. I know there are many other ways of raising money, but I just found that interesting. Kickstarter has been around for a while, but the whole issue of raising funds for a business is going to be one of the points in my story. So that was why it appealed to me, because it can, you can really, through her story, more business owners can kind of understand that process of fundraising and raising capital. And also, I think I'm hoping she will be a really interesting person as well.
So when you're writing about a business, what kind of, and then let's say for instance you put them in the newspaper in one of your feature stories.
Yeah.
What kind of, over the time that you've done this, what kind of response or Oprah effect, I'll call it, do they seem to have?
I recently wrote about Sun Up. They do installations for commercial solar thermal, solar heating and cooling systems. And they said that they were immediately slammed with calls. So it can be a boon to your business if we choose to write about you. I think it's basically free advertising.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't have some criminal record, you're good to go.
You do background checks?
Well, I do my research.
Questions? Besides the background search? Yes, Linda.
I know that you said that you write articles about the real estate, possibly the commercial end of it,
Yeah.
which I've I see that it's starting to pick up.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful. I have a question. Someone I met yesterday, I go to the CBAG meetings, and he's involved with nonprofit like I have been, and he's seeking a building for...
An office building or retail?
No, more like an office building for the subject of autism. And I just had that feeling when you were talking about that maybe there's an interesting article. I can talk to you more about it
Yeah.
later, because he also works with another thing that provides children with vocal and instrumental and dance and classes and all these things. And again, he's there out there helping a lot of things that help children nowadays find their place in life.
Yeah, it's a good story idea, and actually that touches on something that I think might be affecting all of you or has at some point, which is the looking for a space. Whether it's a retail space or office space,
Yeah.
warehouse space. I'm looking to actually cover more aspects of commercial real estate. So I know that office space actually has one of the highest vacancy rates in the area, and I've heard that commercial rents are going up. So that is sort of a general industry thing that actually I think I could tie in small businesses in. And so that's just an example of, maybe a way that you could kind of talk about your business with me. Just the whole idea of, tying in your personal story with a business industry issue. Did you have a question?
What's an appropriate way to get a hold of you with a story idea?
I will send Amy and Jeff my contact information, and it'll also have a link to the Desert Sun's landing page with all of the reporters. You're free to, we actually welcome people to call us or contact us or email us. Email will probably be the best way, so we can quickly scan emails. But yeah, if it's not me, a business could possibly go to many different reporters, because we have local reporters as well who cover individual cities.
I have a question. I too work for a nonprofit, but it's over in Desert Hot Springs. And we are helping to create music in our community for children because our need there is huge for the kids. And the only press I can get is it seems to be negative press. I've sent out several media releases, whatnot, to try to pick up the positive things happening in that city, because there is a lot of positive. We have some great events going on, helping to reach out to the kids, providing the kids with backpacks, music programs. I mean, we're doing concerts with the kids. We're really trying to enrich the kids' lives.
Yeah.
But I can't get any attention from the media because it seems to only come in a negative way from our city, and it's not all negative coming there. So I'd like to know how to overcome that stigma.
I see. Yeah. Well, what is the greater context there? Is it still a pretty big issue that...
Yeah. I chair the holiday parade too, and last year we did the holiday parade and that wasn't covered. The negative media for the day was that our police chief retired. Nothing about the holiday parade went out on media. And yet it was a huge event that over 68 organizations came to and 1,500 people participated in and thousands of people attended, but there was absolutely no press coverage whatsoever.
And then the press coverage is like, they did this wonderful thing, even though they've got this problem going on. You know what I mean? And so it's never just the positive aspects.
It's the stigma of the city in general.
Right.
We want to know how to overcome that.
It's that guilt by association.
We want to know, do we bombard them with all the positive and kind of show them the positive, or?
Well, there are several things I could say to that. One is possibly starting to build a relationship with a reporter or reporters. I know that there is, they keep switching around reporters. I can't remember who exactly is covering Desert Hot Springs right now, and I could probably find that out.
That'd be great.
I think it's Reza, but I think he might be covering mostly police issues now. Anyways, reaching out to a reporter and inviting them to
Lunch.
to one of those events that you have, maybe not even necessarily for a story, but just to start building that rapport and saying, hey, come check out what we do. If pass by, I'd love to just meet you for 15 minutes, you know, come see like the kids and like all that stuff. Even if there's no story today, you know, at least you can see in person what we're doing. And that way in the future, they will know, you know, they actually have firsthand experience of what your organization is actually all about, rather than, you know, it's kind of a faceless person if they've never met you before. And unfortunately, sometimes it does depend on the reporter. Him or herself may not have the time or may not have an interest, but I think it's worth reaching out to at least try. Have you sent out, this is what I was going to mention because it will apply to everybody, is we do have a community briefs section. Have you tried sending us those kinds of things?
I have, but I'll try again. I will.
Yeah. We are always looking to fill our pages with community events, and that can mean anything from any kind of public event. It could be a charity fundraiser, or we raised X amount of money for, or gave out this many scholarships. It's really just like, small community things you would see in Starbucks. That's how I would describe it.
Would you still be sending to local news? Because it's sort of like, I've tried a lot of times. I work with Gilda's Club Desert Cities, which has moved to Palm Desert.
Yeah.
And used to have a lot of nice relationships. But it's sort of like, as you say, everybody's moving around, and it's harder to establish that kind of relationship and get any sort of response.
Yeah.
So if I send to local news, it's like, I have no idea what happens to it, and actually nothing happens, as far as I can tell.
I like the community briefs idea. That's
Yeah. But very few of them are actually appearing these days. It used to be really fruitful.
Yeah.
That if you had something sort of smaller, it isn't an enormous, earth-shaking event, that you could still get a little community brief in there.
It might help, maybe just for our sake, if you put in the subject line, like, community brief, so that we can pick it out, hopefully.
And who is covering Palm Desert right now?
I am not sure. I thought it was Dave, but I think he's moved to a different beat, so I'll have to check. Maybe when I send out that follow-up stuff about how to contact us, I try. I don't think it's online, actually. That makes it not even easy. It doesn't make it easy that we don't even put like who's covering what. But I'll try to find out for you, and I'll just put it next to their name, and I can,
It almost sounds like, and stop me if I'm wrong, it sounds like, hey, you guys are busy. And there's a lot coming at them. And so if we can construct our stories or our contacts in such a way that is eye-catching, Andrew will tell you, if you're online, what's the most important thing?
Headline.
The headline, right? Make that headline a grabber headline. Would that help?
Yeah.
And that's in the subject line, right? So that she says, hey, you know what, or whoever it is, Dave or Thom or whoever it is, they say, hey, that's something I want to check out. And said, hey, it's another story about Desert Hot Springs. Geez, we got so many of that. Next, right? Yes, Steve?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, is it our responsibility to actually write the article and send it in? Is that how it normally works, or?
No, it's more like pitching an idea.
Okay.
Pitching, telling us briefly, my name is so-and-so, I own this business in this city, we're opening a new store, we've, we've gone through some troubles, but now we've got, this and this up and running with the help of SCORE or whatever, and I don't know, something along those lines.
Shark tanking. You've got a brief period of time, get in there, tell them what's going on, and give yourself a chance to be seen. Yes, sir.
Dominique, how, you mentioned the business brief section. How is the Desert Sun, coming up on the first page when someone's looking for news? I mean, online. We heard how it's done here, because a news article is great, but it's not out there to the people. I don't know how many people buy a newspaper nowadays. I don't, but that's one question. The other question is the Desert Sun and KMIR merging?
No, we're not.
Okay.
No, we're totally separate.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, to your first question, I haven't been able to analyze. Actually, I should take a look at that, but I don't have online analytics off the top of my head at this point. But I will say that we make a concerted effort to include. I mean, we're in the business of SEO too,
Right.
and so every story that we do, it will be there permanently online, and it'll be, you're able to share that link however many times you want. It'll always be there. As far as putting in a search term and having it come up, I actually haven't personally tried that. I typically just go directly to a story, but that's something I can look into and I can include in the email.
Something along that line is, we see this, and Andrew jump in, is, we'll create a video or Andrew will get content, we'll give it to you as a client, and it's like it's supposed to be that super arrow, that super pill that changes everything, and really it's just a tool to start, as Dominique said, start sharing. And so when you have an article written in there, obviously it creates a link. You should be blogging about that and sharing it with your people that are in your internet or in your online, those type of things, because that helps both ways.
I'll say too that because we're a news outlet, it immediately will be in the top section because Google puts news at the top of a page. So that will always be there, especially even if an article isn't just about your business, but you happen to be interviewed by someone for another story, like your name and your business name will probably be in there. So I think it's good to just reach out to as many reporters as you can. I mean, any kind of exposure is really good, I would say. I'll also say too that we do a lot of social media, and that's embedded within our, that's on, you can share our stories through our website. So a lot of people do that, and I think that's another way that our news organization helps bring a lot of exposure to the people we write about, because oftentimes, not always, but our main social media person will promote stories on the Desert Sun Facebook page, and those can get tons of likes. Yeah.
Did you understand that you say, hey, now let's say, again, Holly could write a story and put it through the internet and to your social media person? How does that whole thing work from an online type of thing?
Yeah, we would do the promoting part, so you wouldn't be able to have any sort of influence over that. But I'm just saying is within a news article story on the Desert Sun website, at the very top, there are already buttons to share. And so that creates sort of I guess, how do I say this? That magnifies the importance of that article because so many people have been sharing it. For example, when I've been chasing those rumors about President Obama possibly buying a home here, that gets all kinds of shares on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook, and that's all there on the page, and that instantly makes that page more attractive online, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And so because when we write about you, when you're mentioned in an article, if that article gets shared on LinkedIn or whatever, it'll say there on that article. And I'm just saying is we incorporate social media into everything we do. Yeah.
I think kind of a question here is, what is the Desert Sun doing to keep up between being printed, going out of date, and now the digital media? What are you guys doing to keep up with that? Are you keeping a standard where you say, okay, we need to make sure that we're actually sending out more social media now than we are printed paper? Or are you trying to still stick with the printed copy of the paper?
Before a second, can I ask a question in front of that?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, because of what you just said, or the question you're asking, what kind of circulation are you currently seeing with the Desert Sun?
Well, I know this is online already, so we're small. We have about a 50,000 circulation. I think that's the peak on Sundays, 50-ish. But our sister paper is USA Today, so we're owned by Gannett, which is one of the largest public media companies in the U.S. So I'm just saying, if a story does have national appeal, it can go national. I'm not saying that could happen for every business story, but it's possible.
Because they're looking for news also, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. So to answer your question, digitally, I want to tie that back into video. We they have been encouraging us reporters to not only write text, but do a lot more video. And so I'm not sure if we'd be able to embed a video from yours, but I mean, if possible, we could link to it. And I know that our photographers and the reporters are encouraged to do a lot more video, and that ties into the whole idea of building or getting onto the front page of a Google search.
So can I ask you a question on that? And this is a selfish question, not for me, but for our clients. Going back to the community briefs, is that something would that be a good place for a short 30, 45-second video to show up on a business that maybe you were saying, hey, you're going to go visit somebody? Would that be a good place for a video?
I'm not sure how they publish those community briefs, and I'll have to check into that. And that is a little bit of the divide still, I think, between print and online. We get all of our major stories are online, but as far as the smaller things, I'm not quite sure. I thought that they would get published online, but I'm not sure how that happens. And the editor takes care of those, so that's why I don't have an answer.
Just a little comment on her question.
Yeah.
I'm a subscriber. I get the paper every day, and but I also have the Desert Sun app, and it's a pretty active little app. That whenever a top story comes up on the website, I get notified, and I go to it and I read it, and I go through it every day because I'm very interested in seeing articles that relate to my business, and I find them. So they're pretty active in terms of digital and paper. I mean, I love the paper. I've been reading newspapers forever, so.
Can I ask them a question?
Of course.
Okay. I can answer yours first.
Oh, I don't have a question. I just wanted to make a comment on one of the things that you said that goes right back to Jeff's video getting to #1 so quickly.
Yeah.
New stuff is really important to Google. So news, as you said, gets to the top pretty quickly.
It automatically
So do
gets
new videos that you post get that kind of SEO juice right away. So
right. So think of video combined with being on a news page.
Well, I was going to take it a global thing.
Yeah.
The more content you produce, the more likely it is you're going to rise in the rankings for Google. So new content is what Google's looking for constantly.
Question to the group.
I can answer yours first.
Do we get any brownie points for sending in a formal press release that's organized in the classic way so you know where everything is, or do you just prefer a nice informal email?
I do like press releases when you have a lot of information to share. Like the Charlotte's Pantry, that's a lot of information about opening a store, and we're raising money, and we're doing, and we're expanding this, blah, 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 blah. And then, so, yeah, I think keep it to one page, and I think it still works. Yeah, we still like press releases because we know who to contact and everything, all the boilerplate stuff is there, so. Yeah,
How often do you search for those? Like, is that a press release that's sent to you, or do you go onto a curated site and look for press releases from the world, basically?
No, we don't look for press releases.
No. It's a big business. Well, it seems to be big business for a lot of people saying, go and do a press release, and they just put it out there. It's almost like saying, I'm going to write a note, I'm going to throw it in the air and hope someone picks it up.
There is a press release newswire, PR newswire, that gets sent out, I think, to a ton of different outlets. I mean, I think it's, if you subscribe to it, you can distribute it out, but I don't think, it depends. Not all journalists subscribe to that. I don't use that to find stories. I rely on networking with people, understanding, going to events like this and to see events, having people pitch me ideas.
You said network with people. Mm-hmm. Where would we network with reporters? Where do you guys tend to end up going? Where is it that we could network with you?
Well, I think it depends on the reporter's area of coverage. So for me, I'm trying to show it more to small business events, things like job fairs, workshops like this, the town halls that CBEP has. What else? There was a Whole Foods had a vendor thing for a vendor fair for local artisan like bakeries and things like that. So I try to go to those wherever your industry events are. You can even shoot me a note. tell me about the industry event going on, whether it's the hospitality industry, I know SCORE has another thing, or related to green tech, or the food industry. Just send me a note, and then I'd love to go to those trade events as well.
You mentioned there was a possibility that President Obama would be moving to this valley. I mean, having a home here, obviously not living here full time. If he does do that, and you, of course, really know that it's happening, how do you think it's going to affect our local economy?
I think it might be a little bit off topic.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'd be happy to answer that.
I mean, maybe that could be another article for you in the future.
Yeah, when they actually buy it, if and when they buy a home, that might be a good story.
Yeah. I'm also curious, how did you end up having this passion and having this career? What drove you into this industry?
Sure, a little bit about you, if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, definitely. So I.
What's your why story?
Yeah, story.
Well, I'm from the Bay Area originally. My hometown is San Jose, California. And actually, I'm the only writer in my family, so I went and did what no one else, not the traditional route, I guess I would say. Both my parents are engineers, and my brother's in the high-tech industry. He works for a startup. So I went the creative arts way. And actually, my parents really supported me in it. So I went to USC and studied journalism and political science. And then I moved to Portland, Oregon to write for The Oregonian, where I cover local government and crime and business. And I moved here in September. So I just really enjoy meeting people and learning about life, really, just the ups and downs of life. And I'm most interested in culture and economic development, and I find the Coachella Valley to be really a big mine, just full of interesting people and interesting stories. So I'm honestly, I mean it when I say that I am actually very interested in small businesses because the Valley thrives on that, really. And so I'm excited to just hear more, stories. I wanted to touch back on something earlier, actually, about sending me a note about a trade event. I wanted to tie that back into that would be an example of building rapport with somebody. Say you find that you're a small business in Palm Desert, and you could email me, you can email the Palm Desert reporter, tell us about something going on within your own industry. That way, it's not just one way. It's not just you giving us stuff and us taking it. It's like, oh, you're interested in my industry, here's like a little bit going on. You don't have to write about it, but we can have something to talk about. So
That's a great idea. Now, you had a question, you said you had a question for the group. What was it?
Oh yeah, I did. I was just wondering, as business owners or business leaders, what kinds of things would you wish that the Desert Sun covered as a paper or as a news outlet, actually? Yeah.
Boy, that's a great question.
What's going on that has to do with the internet? Because I feel like the Desert Sun is still really focused on traditional reporting. But I'm a small business, and I do a lot of very interesting things over the internet. But I don't feel that there's a way for me to get in the Desert Sun, because I don't see how I would approach the Desert Sun to say, hey, have you ever really done anything on do we have a thriving industry here that people don't see? You know
Look
what I'm saying?
Look around. I mean, Ron, when we started with this, compared to now, I mean, the attendance is consistently going up. That's exciting.
Yes.
So obviously, the virtual space is definitely a place that people are starting to move to.
Yeah, a CVET town hall would be great to attend. I would recommend it for anybody. I mean, if you want to know what's going on in Coachella Valley, so economically.
But tying that back to the newspaper, is that something you'd like to see? Your name?
Dan.
Dan. So is that something you'd like to see that's being shown in the paper?
Yeah, I think that, it's just great to hear that, you guys brought her here because, the coverage of small business is huge now, with workforce and everybody, changing careers, midlife, all kinds of different reasons why people get into small business. But the coverage of not just new business, but I think the coverage of evolving small businesses that, started from scratch, whether it was campaigning or crowdsourcing or borrowing $100 from grandma, and then saying, look, here's year 1, year 2, year 3, and now here they are at year 5, and they've created a model, a successful model, not just a new small business, because unfortunately we know that new small businesses, have a high mortality rate. But, for me personally, just listening, I'm going to go back to the individual that came out and, filmed my location when we started and say, hey, you ready to do a follow-up, to the story that you did 3 years ago or whatever.
So that's what you'd like to see more?
So I think, more follow-up of hey, in 2010, we talked about this small business that started, and now look what has happened. And that's just going to encourage, economic growth, I think.
That's great.
Yeah, I'd like to see stories on new solutions for problems that we currently...
Like general community issues, or what kind of problems?
Well, both community issues, but some community issues that can also affect the world. For example, conflict resolution, training, I think could be implemented. One example or organization that is instituting novel solution is the Oasis of Peace in Israel. I think conflict resolution methods and training can be implemented at all levels of society. In our community here, we have gang violence, we have all kinds of problems at all levels of society. But that's a new solution that you never hear anything about. I mean, and or the Kickstarter program, if we want to just limit our discussion to businesses. I just think new solutions to problems, innovative solutions. There are visionaries all over the world doing incredible, doing pioneering work that we just don't hear about.
So you'd like to see the Desert Sun be more, instead of just reporting news, be a resource for solutions and challenges?
To do research on new solutions that are being offered to problems.
Right. In the back.
So Sunnylands is a great representation of conflict resolution, just to put that in there.
Oh, really?
Sunnylands is all about conflict resolution.
What is Sunnylands?
There you go. Look it up. It's quite a, it's Camp David of the West Coast, if you will.
That's right.
I would just like to suggest that, a lot of, not just the Desert Sun, but it seems that all of the media kind of is stuck on getting information from the same sources in the same area. I'd like to see kind of a new array of sources for their information, something different, someone new.
Can I answer that? I just
jump.
Yeah, no,
I just want to tie into
and I'll ask Dominic in a second, but I know a lot of people now, a lot of news sources, in fact, nearly every reporter that I know is on Twitter, and they're using people power to get information on what's happening. Can you just give us a quick rundown of how often you use Twitter, and do you use it for news sources? Because even on the Desert Sun website, all of your Twitter handles are all there for all your reporters. How often do people reach out to you via Twitter for news sources and stuff like that?
We do use Twitter a lot for breaking news, especially because you can look up people actually geolocated tweets. They can find people who are near a crime scene. That's kind of an extreme example. But yeah, I use TweetDeck, so I actually don't know if a lot of businesses use Twitter. Actually, it's the other way around for me. I'm always on it, and I'm always looking to see, I have tweets that stream local, I make a list and follow like local people And I check the news that's been going on from, both global news and our local Coachella Valley news. So I'm always on the lookout for local and global news. And I would encourage you to tweet me if you want. Realtors have done that before in the past. And so they've actually tweeted me, hey, I saw you at such and such event, cool, let's connect. Or here's like a link to, this other news article I saw, did you see it? So they'll tweet me things like that. And so I actually have used that for a story.
Do you get encouraged to use Twitter by the Desert Sun, or is it just something that you pick up and different reporters use it in different amounts?
No, it's top down. It's Desert Sun really actually mandating that we use Twitter because we recognize how important it is.
Ooh, write that down.
2 points in.
One of the things too is, there was a time in our world, probably before you were born, no offense, to us that are older, is it was hard to get our voice heard. Now, we can reach it, email, Twitter, she's here. I think we have to take responsibility and say, you know what, if my voice isn't being heard, I may not be speaking loud enough, or I need to reshape my message, I need to change my headline, I need to do something to build that relationship with those people who are taking it to the next level, and not wait for them to say, well, I wish you'd get a different source. Why don't you become that source? Why don't you become that resource and that relationship? So I'm going to throw it back on you because she's working her tail off. Why don't you start saying, hey, I'm going to work to make that relationship stronger, so when she does get an email or a Twitter feed, that she takes attention. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I've got about half a dozen things I'd like to tie
you
up.
can
I'm going to keep it to three. One is, I opened up the Desert Sun, we do subscribe. I looked at the classified ads to see how many jobs were available. I think I found 4 in there, and that comes right back to what you said about small business is what drives the valley.
Yeah.
Which then leads to the problem that we actually have, which is, what if, even if we did create a talent pool here and we trained all the young people how to be IT support people, let's say, that we still might not get the attention or get the companies that would move here that would create the jobs or provide those opportunities to the young people. I don't know how we would solve the problem, but it might be something that the Desert Sun could help do by maybe getting the attention from business leaders on that problem in the first place.
You're touching on an issue that businesses small and large are dealing with, and actually that's a story that I've been kind of wanting to do.
Oh, that would be
So
great.
keep in touch with me. The whole idea of recruiting and attracting talent to the valley, and also raising up people from here to meet, to kind of close that job gap, I think. It's an interesting issue that's always been around.
One more question?
Well, I think that would be a great idea because, there are such fantastic people here, a wealth of talent here, owners of major industry here, who read the paper, and if you could do a story, talking about, how how we need them to invest, their businesses, here, how important it would be for us, and, make this a place where people want to come. We don't want to, bring, Tony Robbins, spends, time here, and, he talks about excellence. We don't want this to be just another, we want people to come here and say that we have a place of excellence. So that'd be fantastic if you could do anything, to bring some sort of big business here. That would be fantastic.
I know, unfortunately, the CVET town hall in India is happening right now at the same time, but they're actually wanting those business owners to share, to talk about the challenges with them. They've invited their community to share that with them. They had one in Cathedral City, which I wrote about, but the one in India, unfortunately, is the same time as this. But just throwing it out there.
You mentioned CVAP a couple of times. What is that?
Coachella Valley Economic Partnership. They're an organization based in Palm Springs, and their whole mission is to diversify the economy here, rather than being solely based on or largely dependent on tourism and agriculture and hospitality. They're really trying to, well, they like that, but they're trying to encourage the growth of other businesses, and they partner with SBDC to help small businesses as well. But they're really looking to train, their mission is exactly that, training, the students here and connecting businesses with them. So they've been working on that for a few years, and they're working on their next 5-year plan. I'm kind of advertising for them, I guess, but no, but I'm saying that they're welcoming your ideas. So.
Well, Dominic, I want to thank you for joining us this morning, taking, I know it's a big chunk out of your day to come, but I think we all got some value from that, and realizing that the Desert Sun is not just an on-print location that doesn't appeal to you if you're online. It can help you get seen, it can help you be a resource, as you were mentioning, a resource, and we just want to thank you for coming. If you do me a favor, I want to introduce Ron Johnson. Ron's been on vacation with us, so he might be just a little rusty. No. He is our representative from SCORE. He's the one that's in charge of putting together all the workshops. Ron, we just want to thank you for that as well. Andrew, you going to take us out?
Yeah, we've got a couple of upcoming workshops. Tonight, I'm doing a workshop, Changing Face of Social Media. I may even show you how to use Twitter to find reporters. I put them in lists so you can connect them. But as you heard, Twitter's a big tool. How many people are using Twitter now? How many people know that think they should using it now after hearing that today? So we're talking about changing face of social media. So that's tonight at 6 o'clock. It's a 2-hour session. You can sign up with Ron at the front tonight. I think it's $25.
Yes.
$25 tonight. If you've got a laptop, you want to bring your laptop. Is it next Tuesday?
Yes, it is Tuesday night.
Next Tuesday night, Chris Marlowe is here. Give us a rundown. Is it Thursday night?
Thursday night.
Oh, it's Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday, yeah.
Okay, great.
Don't read my words. Listen to Chris. Chris has got a workshop next Thursday night as well. Give us a quick rundown of what that's all about.
How many here need to get leads in your business? How many need to get sales? Right. Okay, well, that's what it's going to be about next week. I'm a direct response copywriter. Does anybody know what a copywriter is? Copywriter? Okay, direct response copywriter is somebody who writes the material that gets a lead or a sale. So, but you're all familiar with print ads and direct mail and landing pages online and anything where somebody's asking you to do something. And so that's what I do. But before anybody can write anything, if you're a direct response copywriter, you have to do your research on the target market. You have to really, really know your target market. And that is where the real success is. So next week we'll be talking about the secrets behind how, it's not really about copywriting. You will learn how to write a headline, because that's so very important. But it's really about understanding your target market, the psychology, the things that we know about emotions and triggers and all of that kind of thing. So I hope to see you there.
Great. So it's next Thursday, 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Is that Thursday? That's
This is Tuesday. Don't read my writing.
Okay.
This is what I say. Don't read it.
Chris is coming early just in case.
Jeff, can you run down something?
Yes, and something we do every Wednesday, we have a program called Seasonal Slump Busters, and this is for across the planet. We reach out, Andrew and I, we provide solutions to businesses that have facilities or they run their businesses in a seasonal environment. This is one of those things that we help provide solutions to that. We do that every afternoon at 4:30 on Wednesdays, and we encourage you to get involved. It's an interactive show, and ask questions, and we'll address those. So that's every Wednesday.
And there's 2 other workshops we're going to inject here. There's one this Thursday night about QuickBooks. We have been able to get a commitment from one of the QuickBooks trainers. She was Trainer of the Year for 2 years running. She's formed her own company and she'll be here about once a month. And this week it's on financial sheets, balance sheets, I think it is, P&Ls. So she's going to take different sections, and we'll have a monthly QuickBooks training session in that area. And then also we've got our All About Business workshops with Gene Constant that start, in fact it starts tomorrow morning in Palm Springs. It's a 5-week class, 3 hours a day. And we do it in the morning in Palm Springs, up at CVEP, our office up in there, across from City Hall. Or you can take it at night down here too, in an office right here. So want more information than that, look at our flyers on the way out about different workshops we have on our website.
Final thing, testimonial, if you'd like to give us a testimonial, if you found some great information today and you want to give us a quick 20, 30-second testimonial about what you got out of today, Amy, who's at the back and hiding, she'll take those testimonials in this room straight after the end of this one. And you've got one more coming up.
Oh, we have a program called Lights, Camera, Action. We did it last month. Holly was part of that. If you're interested in using video for your business and you say, hey, I want to take control and I want to be the one capturing, editing, publishing, and distributing, then we teach that. And we do that again in August. That's going to be on the 23rd and the 30th, and it's 4 hours each day. I say 4 hours. Was it 4 hours, Holly? Okay, so it's a little longer just because that's just the way it was.
It's excellent.
Thank you. And it's a maximum of 10 people. You just need some things, like you need a computer, a laptop, excuse me, or you need something to capture your video. And then we're going to walk you through every step. We're going to shoot videos. When you leave, you'll have videos that are out on the internet working for you. It's a maximum of 10 students, and it's $295 a person, and we'd love to have you. I think that's it. Yes, ma'am.
Before we wrap up, could I have your Twitter username?
Yeah, it's Dominique, DOMINIQUE, Thom, F as in Frank.
There we go. It's on the screen.
There she is right there.
Oh.
Thanks for coming.